Hello everyone, it's Justice, and welcome to my space. Something that I have been having a lot of fun doing recently is playing video games. One game is Dead by Daylight, and it's gotten to the point where I have an entire journal insert dedicated to doing notes and journals and doodles all about this wonderful game. And today, I figured I would give you guys a glimpse into my Dead by Daylight commonplace book, essentially, because it's everything to do with Dead by Daylight. And today, I am writing about the Dredge lore. So, in this game, you can play as a survivor or a killer, and every single one of them has some type of story that goes along with them. The Dredge is one of the killers. What I'm going to be writing today, as well as what I'm going to be kind of telling you here over the voiceover, is the lore from the Dead by Daylight wiki. The Fold was founded on a private American island in the 1960s by a group of anonymous philanthropists. Their goal was to establish a peaceful society free of dark thoughts and emotions, attracting the dismayed, disenchanted, and disillusioned from all over the country. This peace-loving community thrived over the years, and members freely followed the dictates of its charismatic leader, Otto Stamper, who taught his followers the secret of maintaining happiness through joy talk, meditation, and the endless reciting of good-thinking mantras. But not all was bliss within the Fold, and Otto swiftly banished anyone who confessed to having dark thoughts or speaking dark words. Those he appointed as guardians of the Fold were quick to root out malcontents, banishing anyone who thought or spoke against the almost perfect community he had established. Life was more or less a utopian dream on the island, until that is, the darkness began to slowly leak through the cracks of their spiritual dam, and members began to mysteriously disappear. It wasn't long before fear closed its septic jaws on the island and refused to let go. The once happy community now gathered in a few homes chanting all the good-thinking mantras in a desperate attempt to rid their lives of this formless creature that seemed to stalk them in the shadows and consume them in their sleep. Otto tried to quell his followers, telling them that there were malcontents among their ranks, and that they alone had summoned the Druani to their garden of joy. As the Fold bleated fear, Otto evoked desperate measures. Ottomarians were restricted to their homes to prevent the spread of rumors and dark talk, while sleep was forbidden to prevent anyone from releasing dark dreams into the world. Freedom and sleep would return just as soon as the Druani was no longer upon them. But when Ottomarians continued to disappear, Otto assembled his followers near the beach, where he placed a screaming woman on a wooden stage. There, in the rain, Otto explained to his drenched, alienated, and sleep-deprived congregation that the woman was a journalist here to destroy everything they had created. As the guardians held the trembling woman, she screamed that Otto was not the savior he had claimed to be. He belonged to an ancient cult, an exclusive club of billionaires that took pleasure in corrupting and sacrificing people, towns, and even countries to an elder god. The journalists told them Otto hadn't banished anyone. He had tortured and sacrificed them, and that they would all be next. Without hesitation, Otto slit her throat before she could continue to spread lies. As she collapsed to her knees, with her hands clasped around her neck, he told his confused and terrified herd that she was working with others within their ranks and that they needed to find the imposters before the Druwani came for them all. Otto's words shot over the congregation and reached into the murky recesses of their hearts and dredged up dark and fearful things. Years of suppressed emotions began to bubble up as a thick fog pushed through restless legs and feet. Whispers began, and the whispers became panicked mantras, and the mantras became screams and curses as each member accused the next of malthinking and malspeaking. Over the howling wind and pounding rain, the screams and curses grew louder and louder as everyone desperately tried to contain the darkness within. But the harder they tried, the quicker they ailed, and within moments, the dam burst to release a torrent of hell. Otto watched his once blissful and joyful herd suddenly erupt into violence unlike anything he had ever seen before. The fold bleated accusations and tore each other to bits and pieces with hands and teeth, and never once did they look up to see their kind and charismatic shepherd smiling down upon them with eyes that were cold, bleak, and without pity. When it was all over, Otto felt the creaking wooden stage shake as a murder of crows circled above. Suddenly, the ground rose and then sank into a thick, oozing, black mud-like molasses. Moments later, a formless mass squelched out of the muck and rose like a rearing horse to feed upon the writhing mass of butchered humanity. It was everywhere and nowhere all at once as it slowly picked its way through the carnage, absorbing the darkness and savoring the misery, trailing miserable noises. Shrieks, cries, whimpers, pops, cracks. Feasting sounds, death sounds, dark sounds. Otto watched the creature as it slowly began to manifest into the very thing he had imagined, the very thing he had made them all imagine. It turned slowly to look at Otto for a long, silent moment. Then the Druwani trudged away through the thick black sludge, disappearing into the shadows from which it had come. And now this part's interesting, but this isn't anything that I wrote. But if I scroll down onto the wiki, there is additional lore trivia on the Dredge that I want to share with you all, just because I think it's fun. The Dredge is described as a Druwani in its lore, but in real-life mythology would actually be called an egregore. An egregore is an entity described in the Book of Enoch, an ancient Hebrew text that describes it as an autonomous psychic entity that is composed of and influencing the thoughts of a group of people, which in Dead by Daylight is the cult led by Otto Stamper. The Dredge's lore is heavily intertwined with Otto Stamper, an unseen character that was previously mentioned in the lore of another killer in Dead by Daylight called the Doctor. As Stamper was Herman Carter, aka the Doctor's, mentor at Larry's Memorial Institute. Tome 12. The Human Quotient may shed some light on the true origins of the Dredge. At some points during Talbot's journey, he theorizes that if enough people worshipped, feared, and thought about a being, it could be brought into existence as a god or demigod. His theory seems to have been proven correct by Otto Stamper and the Black Veil. The name Fold Energy also seems to be referenced in the name of the cult itself, the Fold. Talbot's theory seems to be based on the idea that auric cells can be manipulated by thought, an idea which was also mentioned by Frank Morrison in Tome 3. Anyways, thank you guys for taking a moment and letting me talk to you about one of my favorite video games. I hope to be doing this a little bit more, since one of my favorite journals to kind of play in really is my Dead by Daylight journal. So, let's see who we talk about next.